moment to move you, it might never happen. And so this morning's Parsha says something very simple. Give a gift of your heart, but make sure it's a valuable contribution. Give the gift that your soul tells you to give, but make sure it fits in with the community's needs. And so we have 3 separate commentaries. The Malbim says each one needs to participate in the project of building the tabernacle. It's so true. Everybody needs to participate. If the tabernacle is the precursor to the temple and the temple is the precursor to the synagogue, then we can make the exact same comment today, and that is everybody needs to be participating in this project we call the building of the synagogue. Look, there are 3 major construction projects that we find in the Bible. The first is that of the Tower of Babel, in which God destroys this great tower because the purpose was something that wasn't in line with our values. Another great building project was building of Noah's Ark, a solitary project that he did on his own in order to save life. And finally now, the tabernacle. And this is the first time that community is asked to come together to build a project so that God can live amongst us, not so that we strive to live in God's place, not so that we can save life on our own, but to come together as a project of community. The Abravanel says, God doesn't need a tabernacle. We need a tabernacle. We don't build a tabernacle so God can live amongst us. We build a tabernacle, says the Abravanel, so we can come together. It's a community building project. I say it all the time with regards to the projects we do here in this building. We don't do them for the purpose of ritual. We don't do them because we're obligated to. We do them as a means to bring each other together. If I give a class in which nobody's interested and nobody shows, then what's the point? Even if it's very interesting to me, it has to bring people together. Rosenzweig says that building the tabernacle is an imitation of God's building of the world. It's an imitation of creation. We have to do the same for our community. And that is bring each and one of our own individual agenda, ideas, creativities, abilities in order to build this place even more. We find ourselves now at an incredible moment in the station of our congregation. Thank God we are a community that is growing. And because of that, the building is expanding its footprint. Not literally, but figuratively. We currently have our religious school meeting in almost every corner of the building because we have expanded that size. Our sanctuary walls, as you can see, are opening further, not just for security reasons, but because we want to be able to fit more people in here. Our programming is growing because of the needs of the community and because of the creative contribution that people are making. We're growing in ritual, we're growing in programs, we're growing in social action. This is a synagogue that's on the rise. But it's on the rise because we come together in this community project called synagogue building. Look, synagogue's been around for thousands of years. And I know there have been people out there who recently are saying that the synagogue is dying. As an institution, shuls are disappearing because there are these pop-up minyanim. There are these pop-up programs. But I'm here to tell you one simple thing. The synagogue is alive and well and living here in the river towns. Our synagogue is doing well. And we look forward to the next stages of our development. But that will only happen when each and every person in our community says, this is what I have to offer, this is what I bring to the table, this is what I want to give, this is my gift, that will help in the continued construction and growth of our community. And some of those gifts will be in the form of finances, but some of those gifts will be in the form of coming together to make Kiddush on a Shabbos morning. Some of that will come together in order to reach out to members in our community who don't feel well. And sometimes those will come in the form of cards, and sometimes they'll come in the form of visits, and sometimes they'll come in the form of phone calls. This is a community that's on the rise, because everybody in this community says, I have something to give, and it fits in to what we need in order to grow, to live, to prosper, but more, to thrive. This morning's parsha says we started the process of building a tabernacle. It transformed into a temple and now morphed into a synagogue that's here to stay. This morning's parsha says, make me a sanctuary so that I might dwell amongst you, says God. And we have done just that. But it will require every individual to continue to make their contribution in order to understand what God wants. There's an amazing statement in Sifrei Devarim, in a wonderful midrash on the book of Devarim, that says, if you want to understand God, you need to look at the people around you, because everybody is made in the image of God. I try to understand that piece of Sifrei Deuteronomy a little bit differently. If you want to understand God, says the Midrash, look around you. And I say at that moment, God isn't saying look around you so that you can see my image in the world, so that God can dwell amongst us. But look around you, because don't be worried with trying to figure out who God is. Sifrei Deuteronomy says, figure out who we are. Don't be so obsessed with what's the nature of God. Is God transcendent or immanent? Don't be obsessed with God's compassion or omnipotence or omniscience. Be concerned with each other. Learn who you are. Yeah, that'll reflect the Almighty, but more important, figure out who's sitting next to you and figure out what their unique contribution is. You'll never understand the Almighty, but at least you can understand each other. This morning's parsha says, figure out each other, figure out yourself. You have a unique gift to make. You have a unique contribution to give. And that's the way to build shul. That's the way to build community. And that's the essence of the survival of the Jewish people. Shabbat Shalom.